Remember heading into the season how everybody was concerned about USC's defense and the depth? Well, at least a portion of it might get a test on Saturday night.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Hulkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download that podcast, this show is always going to be free, and you know me, I'm always going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. By the way, today, when I'm recording the show, it is Lincoln Riley, Coach Lincoln Riley's birthday. I got the chance to wish him a very happy birthday. We had our Thursday Zoom calls we do during the season. And once the media gave him our birthday wishes, he gave us a present, sort of. As I said, Zoom call, spoke with Coach Riley. He let us know about Mason Cobb. We talked about that on yesterday's episode of Locked On USC. My everydayers know about this. That's why they came back. They wanted the update. Well, here you go. During that Zoom call, Coach Riley let us know that Mason has been limited at practice this week and is probably going to be questionable for the game. So how's that sound, USC fans? When Coach Riley says something like that, it usually means the player's going to be out for the game. When he's that forthcoming, pencil that person in as not playing. He did say that because the game starts late Saturday, 8 p.m. kickoff, that gives him a little bit more time for progress and evaluation. But again, Coach Riley doesn't let the opponent know anything, so let alone about injuries. So if he's saying he's questionable, I'll tell you right now, he's out. And there were no specifics given about what is limiting Mason this week. Quote, we'll see how he moves around today. He was talking about Thursday practice, adding that there's a little bit of extra time for recovery and an 8 p.m. kickoff Saturday. It'll be close the quote. Now, assuming Mason isn't playing, who's the next man up? And what's going to be we'll call it the trickle up effect with the depth? If Mason is held out, he's going to have 2 weeks to get ready for Michigan. So that's, I guess, the positive. You want to put, if you want to put a positive spin on this, we're going to find out what kind of depth Coach Matt Entz has to work with now at the linebacker position. Last week, the defensive line, they shined. They took away, at least for that one game, they took away any question marks about their depth. It allowed them to, if you watched, and I talked about it on since the game, USC's defense, not just on the defensive line, the defense in general, they looked like the fresher unit. The guys who were stronger at the end of the game. Those fist-fighting offensive linemen from the Tigers, they got the beat down. And if you've seen any of the highlights, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anthony Lucas delivering knockout blows. Braylon Shelby. I think one of LSU's starting linemen has to get by concussion protocol if he's going to be playing this week. They probably don't need him as well. They're playing Nicholls State. This is their let's rest guys and get our backups some playing time type of game. And that's what USC has with Utah State this weekend. But Utah State, I think, is going to be a little bit more of a formidable opponent than Nicholls State will to LSU. But anyways, let's get away from that. I think your most likely lineup at linebacker is going to be Easton Mascarenas-Arnold in the middle at the Mike backer, and then Eric Gentry is probably going to be lining up right there at the will. Those are your three linebackers last week. Easton, Eric Gentry, Mason Cobb. Easton and Mason got the start. If Eric Gentry plays like he did against LSU, great problem for Matt Entz when USC has to play Michigan, right? Because that's going to tell you there's no drop-off as far as production. And there wasn't last week, so I don't anticipate any this week as well. And the thing you like about Eric is his versatility, his unique body style. You could not only line him up at the weak side linebacker, you could probably also line him up on the edge. So we'll see what happens. When again, you've got Easton and you've got Eric Gentry, but who are you going to play behind those guys? Well, don't forget you still have Rajon Davis. He's a veteran. Garrison Madden, he's been super scout team linebacker since he's been at USC. Is he going to get an opportunity to play in this game? I think everybody's going to play in this game. They should. That's, again, why you schedule Utah State. No disrespect intended, but there should be a talent gap, a big one. USC should be playing their backups for a good chunk of the second half. We're going to see what happens in the first half. But after Rajon and Garrison Madden, you got a bunch of freshman noobs. I mean, they're good. They're talented. They got the size. They got no experience. Their future is bright. That's what we have to look at. Inside, you're probably going to get Desmond Stevens II. Again, looks the part. Coach Riley mentioned him on the Zoom call specifically. Maybe you're going to see him get a couple shots. Coach Riley said he's kind of felt like he's belonged the entire time. He doesn't look like a true freshman in terms of the way he competes. There's a real talent there that you're pretty excited about. Just to remind all of my listeners, my everydayers, my non-everydayers, Desmond Stevens been working out with USC. He got to USC in time for spring camp. So he's been enrolled. He's been on the nutrition program. He's been in the weight room. So by now, he's actually more comfortable. He's bigger. He might be ready for this first game. If you're going to get your first action, you might as well be at home. USC wasn't going to put him in a position against LSU to not be successful. Better chance of having success at home first time out. I also think you're going to see the other really good freshman. I've mentioned his name before, Eli. Will you see both of them at the same time? Maybe in the second half, not in the game. Now, would Coach Lynn put Newby in at the same time with like Eric Gentry? Two similar bodies. We'll see. Lots of opportunity to experiment with your rotations. I fully anticipate seeing Easton Mascarenas-Arnold, Eric Gentry, and Rajon get the bulk of the rotation, at least in the first half. But, we'll see. This is, as I said, as I've been saying, this is a game where freshmen, and not just on defense, both sides of the ball, they should be able to get some quality game time experience. And I think we're going to see the freshmen in the second half, mostly. One other person, wild card, keep an eye on at the linebacker spot, Anthony Beavers Jr. Again, if you're an everyday listener or viewer of the show, you've heard me mention his name multiple times. That he's been getting a look at the nickel as well as the weak side linebacker. He's got that body size that Coach Lynn likes. I think he likes his versatility. And in this game, you might see Beavers get a shot at the linebacker spot. I've been telling everybody since spring camp through fall, into summer workouts, into fall camp. If you pay attention, I told you, Anthony's been working out with the linebackers. And if Utah State decides to go with Bryson Barnes at quarterback, who's much more mobile than Spencer Petras, who, just got to remind everybody, he was a starter at Iowa last year. So, it's not like he doesn't understand big-time football. Just because he's at Utah State, he came from Iowa. If he's ready to play. He's, again, nursing an ankle injury. I think we're going to see Bryson Barnes, the pig farmer, who killed USC last year. Again, if Utah State goes with the mobile quarterback, Anthony Beavers might be a nice fit to slide in there. He's not the fastest guy, but he's definitely fast enough to chase a quarterback. Somebody who has the speed of a Bryson Barnes. Before USC's first game, my confidence level was with the secondary as far as that being the strength of USC's defense, especially their depth. I mean, they are deep. Coach Doug Belk and Coach Lynn, they both said they want to rotate 8 to 10 guys per game. They barely met that benchmark against LSU. I definitely think they're going to meet that benchmark this week. They're playing at home. They'll have the opportunity to rotate more guys in. Right behind them, the defensive line, heading into the game against LSU, they looked good on paper as far as depth. After last week, their performance, they look good in 3D. They look good in person. Now the linebackers. Now they have the spotlight on them. You got the top three. You got Mason Cobb, Easton Mascarenas-Arnold, Eric Gentry. All three of those guys can play inside. They're versatile enough. When you play linebacker at USC, you got to learn both spots. So now that Mason is probably going to be out, he's questionable till further notice. We'll find out together Saturday night. I think the next man up is going to be Rajon Davis. He's been around for 4 years. He's healthy. He needs to step up now. Now is your time. You hate to take advantage when somebody gets injured, but you know what? That's football. Step in, get the job done. Make the coaches find time for you in the rotation against Michigan. This is the game to do it. If not, I mean, you've got Coach Riley was talking about the younger guys on our Zoom call. If they get their feet wet and they look good, that's going to give the coaching staff more confidence when they play on the road. And again, he's from Michigan. You see how that dynamic works in a couple of weeks? I think there's going to be a lot of rotating in this game. Coach Lynn talked about it. So did Coach Riley. But look, the linebackers are the first group with I'll call it a real test when we're talking about the numbers, because you're down one player and you're down a starter. So we'll see how it goes. The D-line, the secondary, they have different tests this weekend. And basically the test for them, can they do it on consecutive weeks? They looked great last week. The linebackers are focusing on their depth. Can they be good 2 weeks in a row with one less play, with down a starter? We're going to see how the defense responds. Game's what? Day away. We'll find out together. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to go check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has all the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team, and they're going to do it faster, and they're going to do it for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn is a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals. That's billion with a B, professionals with a P, which makes it the best place to find your next hire. And hiring is really easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses, they're going to get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. And LinkedIn knows that small businesses, you guys wear a lot of hats. You don't have a lot of time. Well, thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and it's easy. Just what you need. And they even just launched this feature that's going to help you write your own job descriptions. And it's going to make that process even easier and even quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. One of my everydayers asked me earlier this week. He said, Mark, when are you going to talk about Woody Marks? Give him some love. Here we go. Let's talk about Jaquavius Woody Marks. Why not? He kind of stole the show last week against LSU. His numbers weren't great. They were modest. But when you peel back the layers, they weren't really that modest. They were really good, considering first time playing for USC, going up against a really good defensive line, one that he's probably a little bit familiar with. He's seen before, at least some of those players. Last week against LSU, all Woody Marks did was get 68 yards. He averaged a little over 4 yards per carry on 16 carries. He scored 2 touchdowns. One of them, you might remember, went 17 yards. It sealed the game. It was beautiful. Between the tackles, right up the middle. Power, finesse. He creased it. The hole wasn't great, but he got through it. And once he got through that first level, boom, he was rolling. And USC was too. So I got to ask you, Woody was known as a pass catcher at Mississippi State, right? Is this going to be the Woody Marks showcase game? You got Utah State. Right? He didn't have a bad start to his career. This is what Woody said. He was interviewed recently on the 5-Star Flex podcast with Philip Dukes. It was amazing. Just knowing this was my first game here, and I scored the touchdown to seal the game. That was amazing. You had great running backs on the sideline, and it was the only game on TV. So a lot of people were watching. That was a big moment for me and my team. Close quote. Woody also said he's built for big moments. He's built for moments like this. That's why he came to USC. Again, he was talking with Philip Dukes, part of the 5-Star Flex podcast, part of the On3 network. I work with WeAreSC.com, also part of the On3 network. When you're done making Locked On USC your first listen, get on over there. Check it out. Good stuff. Anyways, let's talk about Woody Marks some more over here. As I mentioned a moment ago, Woody, he made his bones with Mississippi State catching the ball. He is their all-time leading receiver, and he plays running back. That's impressive. The NFL is going to love Woody. They don't have a lot of film on him running the ball as much. I think that's why he came to LA. Not only, well, look, he got those 2 rushing touchdowns, so he's up to a really good start, right? He's doing it the old-fashioned way now. He said he picked USC because of Lincoln Riley. It makes sense. Lincoln Riley is from the Mike Leach coaching tree. Mike Leach recruited Juquavius to Starkville from Atlanta. I want you to remember that word, Atlanta. We're going to get to that here in just a second. So there's that familiarity. Woody knows that the transition from the Mike Leach system into Lincoln Riley system, it'll be an easy transition. Almost seamless. So again, he picked USC because one of Lincoln Riley. And I think maybe that's where Lincoln Riley kind of got his taste for recruiting the state of Georgia, specifically the Atlanta area. Cam Fountain's from there. Ironically, this is interesting. What he was talking about, why guys from the ATL, especially the city part of Atlanta, not so much the suburbs, but the inner city, why they have to work so hard, and to kind of why they have a certain attitude, and it's to get out. Why the kids from Atlanta are so attracted to the downtown city area of LA. Again, Southern California is a little bit different, but it still has that inner city feel, that downtown feel. That's where Woody's from. So you have the combination of Lincoln Riley, the offensive styles that fit Woody, the way he plays the game, the comfort of moving from a big city to another big city and having all those different things being able to do on the outside. It was a nice attraction. But what's interesting is, Woody's talking about, the having a certain attitude. That those guys from the ATL, they're just grinders. They work hard. USC used to have those types of programs literally right down the street from USC. You can go to Dorsey or Crenshaw. There was other programs as well that you could, USC could just go in and say, all right, I need a couple guys from here, a couple guys from there. And they can represent the city and get that top flight education, be able to play football at USC without having to leave Southern California. Those programs are suffering. I mean, USC can't do that anymore. Those programs are barely fielding teams. But again, Woody was talking about how the guys from Atlanta, they fit in with the Southern California lifestyle. That was the takeaway. Woody also talked about how he loves the culture. He loves the coaching at USC. That was another reason why he chose out here, chose coming to USC. He loves the people on the team. All Woody cared about when he jumped into the portal was how was he going to be used? Who was going to help develop him the best and get him to the next level, get him to the NFL? He didn't care about facilities, his own words. He didn't say it, but he doesn't care about all that glitzy stuff. The type of stuff that Oregon has to pimp, to get guys to come to Eugene. LA has its own attraction. Okay. He even said LA is the place to be. Woody's also an older guy. I think he's 22 maybe. So he's just very straightforward. Just, how are you going to use me? And once he felt comfortable, he didn't, again, none of the other, extra stuff. I'm not going to try and say super, I can't say the word right now. My listeners know exactly what I'm trying to say. Anyways, he doesn't care about all the extra swag. He just wants to know, are you going to be able to use me well? Are you going to be able to develop me and get me to the next level? And I'm sure he got a pretty nice little NIL package that made him happy too. One other thing that Woody really likes, life after football. He knows it's going to come sooner rather than later. And USC is a great place for networking. That was another attraction coming from Mississippi State. Woody knows, hey, once his football career ends, that falling back on a USC degree and the people you can meet, it's going to open doors for you. He also talked about USC's history as far as playing football. How many players have come through there at all the different positions. He said, look, USC is the number 2 overall school with draft picks. They're right behind Notre Dame. The way USC is recruiting right now, they might pass Notre Dame soon. We'll see. Woody said one of the things that Coach Riley said to him that really caught his attention. Remember how Lincoln Riley used Joe Mixon at Oklahoma? Running back Joe Mixon? Well, that's how they plan to use him at USC. Okay. That kind of perked my ears up. Because if that's the case, USC finally might have another 1,000-yard rusher. If Woody stays healthy, he protects the ball, he blocks in pass protection. His time at USC could be very productive. It could be a good time. And USC needs a running back like a Woody Marks. Right behind him, you've got those younger guys. You've got Quentin Joyner, you've got Amarian Peterson, you've got Brian Jackson. But Woody Marks show him the way. And then once Woody gets his 100 yards in the first half, let the younger guys, let them get in the game. Let them get some experience in the game. So there you go. There's your Woody Marks story, your segment. Looking forward to seeing what he does on Saturday against Utah State. I think he's going to be featured. I think USC needs to really get that running game going. They tried it, and they stayed with it against LSU. Now let's take it to the next step. Let's get, 175 yards should be that's where they should end the game. 175 or more yards on the ground. I think everyone will be happy. I know I will. Hey, we haven't done it in a couple of weeks, but I've got my Friday rant coming up. When was the last time you went to a concert or comedy show, any live event? Hey, when you were in Vegas, did you go check out any shows? Did you use Game Time? Game Time has this new feature called Game Time Picks. Yeah, it makes getting tickets for your favorite live event even easier. Game Time Pick filters out all the fluff. It's only going to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. I mean, if that doesn't sound cool, I don't know what does. Again, how many of you were in Vegas? Did you use Game Time to get your tickets? Have you been to a game yet this year? If you haven't been to a game yet, why not? You already know how much I love their see your seat before you check out feature. With the Game Time guarantee, you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time is going to credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Don't have a ticket to Utah State? Get a ticket through Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKED like David ON for $20 off. That's download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, superfluous. That was the word I was trying to spit out. To get a little bit of water in there, it helps. So, my Friday rant, got to ask, why are USC fans, or the USC fans, so afraid of success, having a good time, enjoying a win? Look, like all of you, I lived through the same last decade and a half, just like everyone else, right? I remember 2008. It was great. And there's only been a handful of great times since then. But look, that's how spoiled USC fans got when Uncle Big Balls Pete was running the show. Just is. When USC lost that game to Stanford, well, they already had gotten through the game against, the Texas. Ugh. But USC fans weren't used to losing. They won 34 in a row. So over on WeAreSC.com, one of the posters asked the question about Coach Riley. And is he just going to have to accept the fact that USC fans are lazy and they only show up to support the team when they're winning? He didn't use those words. I'm saying USC fans are lazy and they don't support the team if they win. What the poster was saying, though, is how come USC fans don't show up? Why does Coach Riley have to beg year after year? This is what the poster said. Year after year, he solicited support for more Coliseum attendance, and he hasn't received it. Does it get to a point where he just has to accept it for what it is, or does it become such a negative that he considers another gig? Actually, it's a valid question. I don't think if USC wins a national championship, the next place Lincoln Riley goes is the NFL. But when you win a national championship and you're the head coach, you're the king. You own the city. You really do. Ask Pete. Dude could do whatever he wanted. But that poster is absolutely correct. He's right. I've been bitching about this forever. Way before Lincoln Riley took over the program. Look, LA it's not a college town per se. It's a pro town. You've got the Dodgers, you've got the Lakers, you've got the LA Kings, you got the Clippers, you got the Rams, you got the Chargers. You got the Angels who think they're in LA, but they're actually down in Anaheim. That's Orange County for you folks who are trying to figure out how's Anaheim, why aren't the Angels considered LA? Anaheim is in Orange County. Look it up. Let me remind everybody, when USC football is playing well, and by well, competing for championships, they push a lot of those pro teams aside. And this season, it might be the perfect storm. The Lakers suck right now. Dave Roberts is going to choke away the Dodgers in the playoffs like clockwork. He's going to take Shohei Ohtani and just waste his season because he doesn't know how to manage a pitching staff. I digress. I don't like the guy. Sorry. I don't like Dave Roberts. He's terrible. He's a Bruin, so I'm allowed to. Honk. But again, if USC is in the thick of it, watch the crowd sizes grow. And it'll happen weekly. When USC is winning and they're competing for championships, the fans show up. Are all the games sold out? Hardly. Never. But USC can also be her own worst enemy. USC creates some of her own problems. Like, for instance, moving the opposing fan bases into another zip code over there in the high up. Yeah, up there in the corners, under the new Jumbotron, peristyle end. Terrible decision. Terrible. And it doesn't help with ticket sales. It really doesn't. From 2004 to 2009, going to a USC football game, those are special times. 2003, really, through 2009. but it really got crazy in 2004 and going forward. And the crowd support was fantastic. Couldn't ask for anything better. If USC leaves Ann Arbor undefeated, you're going to see a similar effect. I'm telling you right now. They're going to host Wisconsin the week after. 77-5 is a sellout. I don't know if USC will get there. If they're 3-0, I definitely think you'll have 70,000 fans inside. Look, I know Saturday's game against Utah State kicks off at 8 p.m. Get out there. If you want to leave in the second half when it's a blowout. You can use Sunday to recover, and then you can use the bye week if you need it, and even a longer time to recover from an 8 p.m. kickoff. Come on. Support the team. This could be a special year. Do not make me come back and get after you guys again. I'm getting tired of this. Stop being a bandwagon fan. Because I'll say it now. I'm going to say it now again. If USC is undefeated after the Michigan game, the Coliseum better be sold out for Wisconsin. It better be. Don't be a bandwagoner. Don't start complaining that ticket prices are too high. You had your chance. You had your chance to be loyal when USC wasn't good, when the tickets were less expensive. Now, use Game Time. You don't like the ticket prices? It means USC's winning games, and you can blame it on you can blame it on inflation. Yeah, don't blame it on USC. Blame it on yourselves. You had a chance. Don't try and jump on the bandwagon because USC's all of a sudden they're undefeated. They look like they're going to make a run. I mean, yeah, jump on, but don't complain because I won't listen. I'm going to laugh at you. All right. That's it for this episode. I'll be back with a post-game episode. You'll get my instant reaction. It's going to be late. Game kicks off at 8 p.m. By the time we're done with interviews, next episode probably you're going to see it Monday. I don't know how many of you are going to wait up for me to get my instant reaction. We'll see what happens. All right, but until that next episode of Locked on USC, everyone, you know what to do.